Welcome as we continue our study of Colossians in chapter 2, verse 17, which are a shadow of coming things, but the body is of Christ. So the first thing we should point out here, I'm going to click over to the KJV and you can see this. Here. You can see that where it says, but the body is of Christ, the is grayed out. And what that means is that it's not part of the original language. There is no word for is there in the Greek. Sometimes, though, because of the flexibility of the Greek, it can imply that an is in there. I don't know that that's the case here, and we'll get to the reason why is the conjunction. But here is a little bit more flexible than just but. Most of the translations use but. But we're going to get there in a few minutes, and we'll sort of clarify that a little bit as we get there. The first word we really want to look at is shadow, which is skia. And it literally means shadow, but keep in mind that with a shadow you have the real object, the light is shining on the real object, and then on the ground or wall or whatever it may be is cast sort of a blurry, non-precise, dark image of the real thing. So it doesn't have the color, it doesn't have the definition, the contrast. It's not a clear picture of the real thing. Coming is Milo, and that just means to be about to or on the brink of doing something. So this is it is a participle, so it's really the one coming or the things coming, or the things about to be. Because it's a participle, you would add the ing. So I think coming is a good translation there. But is day, and I would say most of the time you're going to translate it as but it can also be and. Moreover, there's a few other words you could translate it as well. It's a conjunction with the intent of contrast. So keep that in mind when you see that. So we could say, but the body of Christ, which doesn't really make sense. So then you got to add the is in, but the body is of Christ. Or you could say, or the body is Christ. Either way, that would make sense. Or you could say, and the body of Christ. In the context here, which are the shadow of the coming things and the body of Christ, that actually works. That makes sense, and that's what I've done in my translation. So I think the major thing here for this verse is keep in mind that we're talking about all of the parts of the law that were mentioned previously. And he's saying that those things, the law, the rulers, all of them, ordinances, all of it, that they were a shadow of the coming things and the body of Christ. So the law was meant to point to the kingdom. It was meant to point to Christ and the body of Christ or church. But it was an imperfect representation. It was a shadow of the real thing. It didn't. It was meant to sort of show us what the kingdom was going to be like. But the difference is, and this is a major difference, is that in the kingdom, because of the Spirit, we will be that way naturally. Versus as the law, it's a bunch of rules that you have to follow. That you don't have the Spirit helping you, and therefore it's very hard to achieve, or well, it's impossible to achieve. And since that's the reason why those things are a shadow.